Hey guys, thanks for tuning in for another episode of Chomping at the Bit. And hopefully, you're having a great day, enjoying yourself, loving life, and spreading love as well. So, this episode, I want to take a look at the NFL season. We're getting down to the final 4 weeks of the regular season. Playoff races are starting to heat up. There's drama kind of in both conferences, which I think is a good thing for the league. You want these games at the end of the season to mean something. So, run through kind of where everybody stands at this point. I think I did this a couple of weeks ago, so I feel like we should kind of check in and see how the standings look at this point and see who's in a great position going down the wire here to make a playoff push, and whose standings in the playoff right now could be a little shaky. I think what we'll do another one of those split screen videos that I did. I've done with the tier list, but we'll do something a little different here. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. But we're going to look at the standings currently. And yes, let me pull me up here. All right. So, as we can see, the AFC, I mean, the Bills and the Chiefs, they're pretty much a lock to get in. 10 wins at this point. I feel like that's playoff worthy at this point. I mean, they're in their own little battle to see who's going to win the bye week, get the number one seed, and both teams have kind of been up and down lately, but like I said, safe to say those two teams get in. The AFC North race between the Ravens and the Bengals. It looks like that's still going to come down to probably the final week when they meet each other. These couple of weeks where Lamar Jackson's hurt, may not play. It's going to be very important for the Ravens, but they do have winnable games, even if it is Tyler Huntley, although he's in, I believe, concussion protocol, so it could be Brett Hundley who's their starting quarterback. So we'll have to see what that looks like. If they were to drop a game or two here before Lamar could come back, that could be pivotal and give the Bengals an opening to win that division and ultimately get the 3 seed. The Titans, they seem like they're safe only because the AFC South isn't that great of a division. I mean, the Jaguars are down here at 5-8, looming, but I mean, at this point, the Jags would probably have to win out to really have a shot at that. So I feel like it's safe to say the Titans are probably going to be your 4 seed. The 5 seed is going to be, like I said, the Bengals or the Ravens, most likely. The Dolphins are an interesting team because up until probably like 3-4 weeks ago, I feel like it was probably safe to say that the Dolphins were going to be a playoff team. But now with their recent struggles, I believe Tyreek Hill is kind of banged up, and we've seen the Dolphins struggle against this good defenses to pretty good defenses late in the year, and they have a couple of road games in Buffalo and New England where you have to worry about the warm weather Miami team traveling up north to deal with inclement weather, possibly, or at least cold temperatures. And we've seen throughout history, doesn't really go well for the warm weather teams. So, the Dolphins could find themselves actually sliding out of a playoff spot, which, like I said, a couple of weeks ago, wouldn't have thought that. And looking at these three teams here, between the Patriots, Chargers, and Jets, it's going to be interesting to see who is the team that could take advantage of possibly the Dolphins sliding out. So the Dolphins were to slide out, that means Patriots, Chargers, Jets, 2 of the 3 would get in. If the Dolphins right the ship, maybe win 2 out of their last 4, get to that 10-win mark, then I think they'd be safe. And then we'd be looking at these 3 teams fighting over the 7 seed. And looking at the 3 teams, I'd probably say the Chargers have the easiest schedule of the 3, but the Charger season's kind of been up and down as well, much like the Patriots and the Jets. Because the Jets, remember, for a long time, it looked like the Jets might be in play in terms of the AFC's title, but they've had their own quarterback issues. I mean, Mike White has started the past couple of games, but he's now hurt. So we're going to have to see if Mike White can go this weekend. If not, good old Zach Wilson has been elevated to the backup role. He was inactive the past few weeks, but now he's back as the number two quarterback. So if Mike White can't go, we could see Zach Wilson back in there as the starting quarterback. The Patriots just got a major win Monday night against the Cardinals, where we saw their defense dominate once again. We saw some flashes from the offense, but we've seen that before. Can they kind of build off of that, get the offense going? And if they are able to, the Patriots probably have the toughest schedule out of the three. But with that defense, if the offense can just pick up their level just a little bit, I think they would feel a little bit better about themselves. Because the Patriots do have to deal with the Bengals. I know they have a game against the Dolphins, Bills, and then the Raiders coming up this week. So, with the Patriots being in the seventh spot, of course, they control their own destiny. But after the Raiders game, like those final three games are gonna be tough. So, I mean, the Patriots could very well have a hand in possibly sending the Dolphins out of the playoffs. The Dolphins uh, could also do the same for the Patriots if the Dolphins were to win that game. But we'll have to see, because if it comes down to the last week, which I think is the Bills game, if the Bills have everything wrapped up, do they sit people? Do the Patriots maybe get a chance at a little bit of a cheap win at the end of the year? We'll have to see. So the AFC, like I said, plenty of races that are still up in the air. Um, yeah, nothing's really decided other than kind of Bills and Chiefs. I'd say Ravens and Bengals are probably locks to make it. Tennessee's basically a lock, I would say. And yeah, so 6 and 7 are the spots that I feel like are up in the air. The NFC is, I mean, the NFC is kind of interesting as well. The Eagles have already clinched. That's what the X there is for. Yeah, because nobody in the AFC has clinched it yet. So we know that the Eagles are in. I feel like the Vikings, you can pretty much count them in because the second best team in that division is the Lions, who we'll talk about here in a little bit. So the Vikings, we'll just say that they're in because at this point the Lions would have to win out. Vikings would have to lose out in order to not win that division. So the Vikings put them in. The Niners, despite losing Garoppolo, losing Trey Lance much earlier in the season, and now running with Brock Purdy, who's dealing with an injury, and Josh Johnson is now his backup, I believe. They found a way to continue winning games. They're 9-4. I think at this point you can count the Niners in. I mean, if you check me out over on Sports Empire Network, I have said for weeks now that the Niners are the team to look out for in the second half. They haven't really disappointed in terms of my prediction, but we're going to have to see with the quarterback position kind of up in the air. What does that end up hindering them down the line, or do they find a way to kind of just make it work? The Bucks, once again, kind of like the AFC South, except for the NFC South is like probably 1,000 times worse. The Bucks 6-7. I've kind of been saying for weeks that the Bucks, I felt like we're going to figure it out and kind of run away with the division. Hasn't happened. They still have their offensive issues. I mean, now there's like conversations about Brady and the offense and if he's whatever. But there's a lot of, I'd say, probably rumblings within that locker room. So if you're looking at that spot, do you have faith in the Bucks holding on? Are you a believer in the Panthers or the Falcons, who are only a game behind? I mean, the Falcons are going with Desmond Ritter as the starting quarterback now. Their Mariota experience is over. The Panthers, who are they running at? Is Darnold the starting quarterback there at this point now? But the Panthers have been on a little bit of a run lately, so I guess you can't fully count them out. So that's going to be an interesting race to see. I guess one, does the winner of that division finish below 500? Seems like that could very well happen. And I believe the scenarios, if the Panthers were to win out, no matter what the Bucks or the Falcons do, the Panthers would end up winning that division. So that's something to think about. You know, With this being towards the end of the season, I'll probably do videos like this each week, kind of setting up where we are. So that's definitely a race to watch. Not exactly the most exciting race because all three teams aren't exactly playing great, but at least there's some drama there. Cowboys, you could pretty much call them a lock, and I guess there's kind of an outside shot maybe that they could get the division, but I don't think so. So Cowboys probably locked in at the 5 seed at this point. Commanders and Giants, interesting there because they had their game a couple of weeks ago. They ended up tying, which is why they're both 7-5-1. But they have their rematch this weekend, and obviously the winner of that game will feel much better about their standing in terms of the playoffs because getting their eighth win. And I think in the NFC, whereas the AFC, I think 10 wins you feel safe. In the NFC, I feel like 9 you can kind of feel safe about getting in. So one of those teams gets to 8, they just have to win one more of their remaining games to kind of get in. So that's definitely an interesting game to watch. I believe that's the Sunday night game, and I feel like it's going to be a really good game. I'd probably lean more towards the Commanders on that one, but we'll see. So yeah, same thing with the Giants. The Giants, their remaining schedule, I feel like a couple weeks ago I said that they would probably that they had a good chance of losing out, but after this Commanders game, they do have a game against the Colts later on, and I think they have a game against the Jets maybe. Don't quote me on that. But looking at that, the Giants, could they scrap together 2 more wins to get to 9? Possibly. But that's definitely something to watch because, Giants had a really good start to the season due to injuries and whatever, have kind of been sliding slowly out on their way out. So if the Giants were to slide out between the Seahawks, Lions, I guess you'd have to still say the Packers for now. Who could really take advantage of it? Interesting enough, the Lions probably have the best shot of getting in because looking at the Lions' remaining schedule, it's not hard to think the Lions could be a 9-win team, which with the start that they had to their season, that's crazy to say, but the Lions definitely have 3 winnable games left on their schedule. I believe I can pull it up here for you and let you see. And yeah. Yes, the Lions have the Jets, Panthers, Bears, Packers. Toughest game in that stretch, I guess, would be the Jets, but with their questions at quarterback, just saying. I'm just saying. To be honest, the Lions could run the table and get to 10 wins. How crazy would that be? And who knows, this game here against the Packers at the end of the season could turn into a very important game for not only the Lions, but maybe even the Packers at that point. So I feel like the Lions are quickly turning into like the feel good story of the NFL. And I think there's a lot of people out there who are rooting for them to get in. And to be honest with you, they have a really good shot at it. The Seahawks are another feel good story. Weren't expected to win a lot of games this season. Geno Smith's had kind of a resurgence. Kenneth Walker has kind of made a name for himself. And I'm looking at the Seahawks real quick. I think the Seahawks have a tough remaining schedule, which, I mean, for Seahawks fans out there, isn't the greatest thing to hear because I'm kind of rooting for them to make the playoffs. Kind of prove a lot of people wrong. But they've got the Niners this week. That's going to be tough against that defense. They have the Chiefs the following week. Tough. Jets, we don't know. That could be a very tough game. And then the Rams. I mean, Baker Mayfield had his first start with them, pulled off that, miracle final drive to win that game. I mean, 4 weeks from now, Baker Mayfield could be more comfortable in that offense. Who knows? But looking at that final stretch, Could they go 2-2? I think so. So Seahawks fans might have to endure these next 2 weeks against the Niners and Chiefs and really look to the Jets and Rams, and hopefully you can win those two and get yourself in. Like I said, I think 9 wins get you in the NFC. So that is kind of where we stand right now in the playoffs. And yes, like I said, for the NFC, I'm predicting the Giants fall out, but I think the Seahawks maybe get in over the Lions. Although it come down to tiebreakers, which I guess right now technically the Lions would have the tiebreaker because of conference records. Because I don't think they've played each other this season. So yeah, so if they get to 9, the Lions get to 9. Have they played each other? No. Okay. Oh, yes, they did. Sorry. Okay, so the Seahawks do have the tiebreaker because of head-to-head. So that's big. That's a big point. So the Seahawks get to 9. The Lions would have to win out, get to 10 in order to get in. So I guess because of that, I'm gonna go with the Seahawks to get in. Giants falling out, and Lions maybe losing out by the tiebreaker. In the AFC, okay, full disclosure, I am a Patriots fan, so this scenario may not even come true, but I have a feeling the Dolphins fall out. Like I said, the Dolphins have a sneaky tough schedule to end the season. They have, let's see, okay, the Bills, it's up in Buffalo, tough. The Packers game's in Miami. I think that helps them. If it was in Green Bay, I might feel a little bit iffy about that. But the Dolphin season will probably come down to this game right here at the Patriots. I mean, that could turn into an elimination game between the two of them, to be honest with you. But if they get the Packers win, that give them 9 wins. They might be safe. Patriots, like I said, Raiders this week, Bengals next week. So tough 2 game stretch before they go Dolphins, Bills. Like I said, a lot of interesting races. And so my prediction, yes, Dolphins fall out. I think the Patriots and the Chargers get in. Once again, that's like 65% me being a homer. If I was going to be maybe more realistic, let's say Patriots drop out, Chargers get in. Yeah. But no, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to say Dolphins fall out, Patriots get the 6th seed, Chargers get the 7th seed. Yeah. So, like I said, do this every week. We'll kind of take a look at this and see what's going on. And let me take this away. Yeah. So, you guys let me know what you think. Do you agree with my assessment and, who I have making the playoffs falling out? Let me know down in the comment section. Let you know I will be doing a picks episode again this week. I haven't done one in a couple of weeks, to be honest with you. I was kind of thinking of different ways to do it, so I think I'll probably use ESPN or something. Pull up their list of games, pick them that way. That way you can keep better track of them. I'll probably do that next season because, like I said, I completely lost track of what my record was, and because of that, kind of stopped doing the picks episode. But we'll bring it back for next season for sure, and the rest of the season. But hopefully you're enjoying the end to the NFL here because, like I said, the Lions, big surprise. Um, the Ravens Bengals race is going to be interesting. And because of that, I think MVP race this season could be very interesting. So uh, it's kind of crazy that the NFL season's almost done, but I think the playoffs this season is going to be wildly entertaining. So I'm here for it. But like I said, I will be here for sure covering all this NFL stuff that's going on. Before I get out here, just have to say, catch me on, there we go, Sports Empire Network, Tuesdays, Thursdays, 7 o'clock p.m. Tuesday, Big Three podcast. We just did one last night. It was a really good show. If you have a chance, go back and check it out. Like I said, really good conversation between Dylan, Jordan, and myself. Our comment section was pretty good, so check that out. Thursday nights, pregame pigskin, 7 o'clock up until basically kickoff of the Thursday night football game. Do that show with Gene Godfrey. Check it out. Really good show as well. And then I guess I can go ahead and let you know that Monday nights, there's a new show called Cheap Seats Podcast. I will be on that show. I'll be on there every week as well. So I'm adding a new night on the network. I'll be on there with Jordan, Gene, Freddie, I believe Brian. So this coming Monday will be our first episode. Once again, it'll be live on Facebook, YouTube, and TikiLive.com. So make sure you check that out. I'm telling you, it's going to be a really, really good show because now it's going to be kind of getting all of us together on an episode. So it's going to be wild. It's going to be a lot of bold predictions, probably a lot of trash talk between us. I guarantee you'll enjoy it. And also, Fridays, 8 p.m. Sometimes we do episodes on Monday, and we may start doing a second episode a week of the JJL Sports Talk Show, YouTube and Facebook. We do those live as well. That's the show with Jordan and myself, and we kind of just chill, just talk some sports, and kick it for a couple hours. So another great show as well. Make sure you check me out over there. And of course, subscribe to both places because after you subscribe here, of course, got to do that. But thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it, guys. Coming down to the end of the year. This has been kind of a really good year for the podcast, and I appreciate you guys for all that. Seen a little bit of growth in the audience. Love that. And I really think 2023 is going to be really, really good to the podcast as well. So thanks for tuning in, guys. As I always say, be safe out there. God bless. I'll catch you next episode. All right. Have a good one. Actually, wait, before I get out of here, gotta say, RIP to Mike Leach, former coach of Mississippi State, Washington State, was Texas A&M before that, Texas Tech, sorry. Passed away, heart issues the other day. Really entertaining, was one of the real characters of college football. He'll be sorely missed, and I just wanted to say it before I got out of here. So have a good one, guys.